Oh,
Hi, friends. Welcome to this week's episode of Dead Funny University. I am your host and fellow student Kelsey, and joining me to teach the 20th episode in our Zelda semester, which, holy crap, I didn't know, I didn't know it was going to go on this long. I figured it would, but I'm still surprised, is Chris, our visiting professor, our tenured professor, our dude friend hanging out with us. Chris, how you doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good. Zelda is probably one of the longest running game series out there right now. It's pretty deep with how many games and all the different material and stuff that went into it. So
Yeah, I was under the impression of that, which is why when I mentioned I was surprised, I was like, but at the same time, we spent a lot of time on just one Final Fantasy game. And I mean, it was
mhm.
plus the additives to the universe around it. So it wasn't just
Yeah,
one game kind of thing. So
right,
I think
exactly.
we're going to go well beyond 20 episodes for this particular semester. So we
Oh yeah.
are done with all of our collecting all of our giants via the temples. We have done all of the side quests to get all of the masks. And now we are at the final boss. Tell
Yep, we're
me,
finally here.
tell me what we need to know. Fill me in. Let's go.
So yeah, so basically at this point, if it's not already the third day, which playing the game, it kind of always feels like it's the fucking third day. If it's not already the third day, obviously you can use time to speed up and get to the third day quicker. But yeah, at this point, you need to be at 5 minutes before it officially hits midnight on the last night. And the carnival will start. Once it starts, the whole tower in the middle kind of pops and drops, and then fireworks starts going everywhere, and that's whenever the festival begins, and that's whenever we can officially start our way up to go fight Majora, who is still waiting on top of the tower where we left him last time. So yeah, so basically whenever that falls, or whenever that falls down, fireworks go off. We have I've mentioned it a couple times now, but we have like these little wooden it looks like a door, but there's like 40 of them, one right behind the other, and they basically make steps. They all fall down and make steps to go up the tower. It's dumb, but it's there. Anyways, so you get up there and you find Majora just like last time. The entire whole scene plays out again because once again, time rewound for you, it didn't rewind for them. So you get up there, Majora says the same thing about, or well, he doesn't say anything at first, actually. The fairy jumps out and says, canyon, water, forest, swamp, the ones that are there, bring them here, yada yada yada. And Slink is like, okay, well, or I should say the other fairy, the sister fairy at this point is like, yeah, okay, we did that. And then Majora slaps the purple fairy again, just like last time, and is like, don't speak. That I don't remember actually. No, I don't actually think he says anything. I think he just says enough out of you. That's what it was. Enough out of you. And then he's like, doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter what you've done. If what I've done can be stopped, then try. At which point then it goes into kind of like a whole like fight mode where Majora's up in the air, you're on the ground. There's nothing you can do to Majora. He's gonna dodge everything. You can't shoot him with arrows, hit him with the hook shot. Doesn't matter what you do, he's gonna dodge everything. At this point, they just want you to play the song Oath of Order, which is what the giants were teaching you the entire time. So you play that
Ah.
song. Yep. So you play that song, and two things happen here. One, you start to see the giants appear, but they also start to sing the song as well as they're appearing. What you also notice is that it drives Majora to the point where he passes out. Like he actually grabs his ears and starts screaming at the moon, making it come down faster. And then they rush in to grab the moon, and then Majora passes out and falls down on the ground. Which I have some pictures right here of our awesome giant friends running up to save us from destruction here. But yeah.
See, I now understand why the giants are built the way that they are. They are not given a back because you know how they always say lift with your legs and not with your back? If you
There
had
you
to
go.
hold the moon and they had a long back, I guarantee you one of them would have back problems and then the whole thing would drop and then clock down, everybody's dead. So
Hmm.
they were not given a back, so they have to lift with their legs because they have nothing else. I
Right.
now understand.
Exactly. Exactly. Live with them
Legs to
legs.
face. Can't mess up a
Uh,
back.
They don't skip leg day, so that's just all there is to
I
that.
mean,
Look at
how
those
would
massive
they?
gazelles.
They'd have like gum
Look at them.
chewing day at that point. I don't even know if they have arm day.
Yeah, that's true. But so yeah, Majora's passed out, which gives a little bit of time for some dialogue between the two fairies. So the brother says to the sister, and I'm going to say brother sister versus using their actual names because if people don't know their actual names and which one is which, it's just going to get confusing. Brother says to the sister, "I can't believe you guys showed up." The sister says, "Well, you know, we're here. We brought the whatever, or we brought the giants, and you know, now we can take down Majora." She's like, "He's stupid for what he's done." The brother fairy starts to take up for Majora. He's like, honestly, it's not his fault because he understands that the Skull Kid is not to blame. The mask was obviously, you know, to blame here. He's like, the Skull Kid was just a lonely kid. And then she's like, so you're going to sit here and take up for him. Why would you take up for him? Aren't you mad about him hitting you all those times? Being lonely doesn't give him the excuse to want to destroy everything around him. And he's all like, yeah, I understand that, but it wasn't his fault. And she goes, well, still, it's stupid or it's stupidity. And then you hear a voice go, yes, it was stupidity to believe that this host could get me further than it could. This puppet has no more use for me. And then they turn and look, and it's actually kind of cool because like you see Majora flying in the air, the mask, and like the Skull Kid's body is just dangling, and then he just kind of like, you know, just drops the Skull Kid, and the mask is just flying by itself. But I
Oh,
found this artist that made this fucking picture, and it looks fucking phenomenal. Of kind of like
oh, that's
the
so
puppet,
cool.
right?
I'm so disappointed that Tail, who's been with you this whole time, can't
Mhm.
like still doesn't understand that Skull Kid is being used. His
I
body
think
is a
Tails just a
pawn.
jackass. That's just all there is to it.
Or
Because
yeah.
while watching some of the ending credits again, just to kind of get a refresher before we did this, I forgot how much I literally just hated this fairy the entire game. Like Navi is annoying because it's always like, hey, listen, but like Tails just a jackass. Or Tattle. I'm sorry, it's Tattle and then Tail. So, anyways, so talks about the fact that obviously, you know, he no longer needs the puppet. The puppet's journey is done, and then all of a sudden you see this purple being come down out of the moon's mouth, and the mask shoots up into the moon's mouth. Now,
Ugh.
then you look up, and whenever you look up, you actually see the moon's eyes start to glow and pulsate like Majora's eyes, which was pretty cool.
Wait, so is the
I'm not
mask
gonna lie.
now trying to control the moon?
Yep. So the
Ah!
man says, "Now I'll be able to crush everything, and there's not a damn thing you can do to stop me." And starts to push down further on the giants because the giants had the moon dead stopped, like it was done, it was
Mhm.
stopped. And so he's like, "Now you won't be able to stop me." And so Tattle is just like, go ahead, play the ocarina, get us out of here, get us out of here. Rewind time, and Link is just kind of like looking around at like this is like our shot, like this is our one
Yeah.
chance. And so she's like, "You're gonna go up there? Are you stupid?" And Link just looks at her and then looks back at the portal. And then she's like, "Well, I'm not going up there. I'm gonna stay here with him," talking about the brother. And the brother's like, "Well, then I'll go." And then she's like, "What do you mean you'll go?" And he's like, "Well, if I was strong the first time, maybe I could have stopped a lot of this from happening. Maybe I could have stopped the Skull Kid from putting on the mask in the first place. A lot of this has to fall on us as well. So then I'll go." And then all of a sudden she's like, "Oh, well, I see what you're saying. I guess I'll go too." It's like fucking, I'm
Ugh.
just gonna jump on the bandwagon here. So now
Yeah.
we're all going to the fucking moon apparently. So Link finally, like, she goes to say something else, and Link just says, "Fuck it," and just bolts for the fucking. He's like, "I ain't got all day for this shit." Like, let's go. So he takes off running towards the portal, and then we go up to the moon. Now, I am going to show you what the inside of the moon looks like. I hope you're excited for this because I didn't see it coming, and I guarantee you're not going to either. But this is the inside of the moon.
Huh.
It somehow has its own sun on the inside.
Oh god.
So there's that.
Okay. I got issues, I got problems. They're all the same problems you have, so we're good. Just
Yep.
roll with it.
They've never been discussed, so I've got no other information for you besides that's the moon. But when you get to the moon, what you'll see is you start to get closer to the tree, because obviously that's the only fucking thing around, is that there are these children who are running around playing around the tree.
Hmm.
And one of them is wearing Majora's mask, while the other four are wearing the remains of the bosses that you killed. If you go up to each mask, and you're supposed to kind of do it in order, so you would go to the Deku one first, then you would go to the one that you fought, the bull, and then you would do the fish, and then you would do the worm. They will so this is the interesting part. This has never been confirmed. There's tons of theories out there, but if you actually go up and talk to the Skull Kid, or the new host of Majora's Mask, if you will, if you go up and talk to Majora, the way his hair is cut, it looks a lot like the Happy Mask salesman's haircut. And so do all the other kids. They all have the same cut. Here's where the theory really drives home, is that whenever you talk to them, they all say the same thing, which is, "Oh, so you're going to be a Happy Mask salesman too."
Oh, nope, 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 nope. Do not like.
So you talk to them, and they all have you give them your mask. Once again, you cannot get the ultimate God mask if you don't have your other mask. So this is where you're going to lose all your masks. You do get them back after this, but once again, the game is kind of done. I mean, it does let you restart dawn of the first day, whatever, in case you want to continue to keep playing the game again. But I mean, once again, it's basically like dawn of the first day, everything's done, you have all the masks, you can go fight Majora again if you want to. That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna give up your mask, and they all take different amounts, so that way it finally ends to you having 0. And whenever you give the mask, they actually take you back to a room from each temple, and whenever you get to the room from each temple, it will actually show, it will actually be like a little maze, if you will, kind of like a little maze room, and you can get heart pieces through each one of these. But whenever you get to the end, you'll give them more mask, and then whenever you're done with that, you have to go and talk to the kid who's wearing Majora's mask. When you go and talk to the kid who's wearing Majora's mask, he kind of talks about the whole happy salesman, and he goes, "Oh, do you not have any more masks to give?" And you say no, because you can't give up your you cannot give up your transformation mask. So at this point, he goes, "Well, then lucky for you, I have a mask to give you. How about, instead of playing hide and seek, because that's what all the other kids had you do, when you got through the maze, you found them, and then they would, ask for more mask, and you get more mask, and they give you a heart piece." So when you get to the end and you talk to him, he's like, "Well, how about, instead of playing hide and seek, we'll play good guy versus bad guy." And he gives you the fierce deity mask, and then he goes, "I'll be the good guy, you be the bad guy." And then it transports you to the boss room, which is pretty cool. It's all right. It's nothing too crazy. But yeah, what's cool is it's got Majora's mask right there, and then it's got the remains on the walls around you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it all goes down. Here you are. You're finally here. At this point, you can choose to put on the mask if you want to. You can fight Majora without the mask. You can fight him without the mask. You need it on you. You don't have to equip it if you don't want to. You can fight him without it. So, I actually watched somebody go from start to finish all the way with beating it. But once again, you cannot get Majora's mask or the Fierce Deity mask if you do not have the other mask. You have to have all those masks, because they take a specific number every time before you get up to the kid. If you get up to the kid, he'll tell you to go talk to the other kids. If you run out of masks, he'll tell you to go talk to the other kids that they're still wanting to play. And when you go talk to the ones that are still wanting to play, they're going to ask you for masks. You're not going to have any fucking masks to give them. So there you go.
So wait, you
Anyways,
can't get to the final boss without the Fierce DSD mask, but you don't have to wear it. Is that correct?
you don't have to wear it, is what it looked like
Okay.
to me whenever I was reading up on it. You don't have to wear. I watched somebody beat all versions of Majora without using the mask, but they had it on them. So they just basically forgot to put it on. I think their goal was they were going to try to get to the final stage of Majora and then put it on, and then they got to the final stage and just kept fighting and forgot, and they're like, "Oh shit, I fucked up. I forgot." So, but yeah.
That's entertaining.
So as soon as you get in there, the boss battle is going to fight as soon as you take a couple steps forward. Whenever you take a couple steps forward, we get to see the first transformation of Majora, which is just called Majora's Mask. So it grows these tentacles out and starts hovering around the room. It uses the remains to fight with it. Now, This isn't that big a deal because like all you got to do is just kind of knock it down a couple times. I think with the grappling shot, and then you can hit it a couple times. Then it will summon the remains to come fight with it. At this point, it will shoot lasers from its eyes. You just use your mirror shield to reflect the lasers back at the other remains, and you'll kill them
Oh.
instantly. And then you don't have to fight them anymore. Once you kill him, this is the one part that every Majora fan hates about this game, is it wouldn't be a Zelda game without them putting some stupid kind of enemy in here. So his second transformation, Majora's Incarnation, is what it's called, is this scrawny little thing, and it basically makes like clucking noises, and they have some kind of carnival music playing as it's running around, and it does these dances and shit while you're trying to fight it. It's kind of dumb.
It's
Yeah.
incredibly stupid. It's entertaining, but it's stupid.
It's so stupid. But then after you beat that, you get to the big baddie of them all, which is Majora's Wrath. This is basically what everybody believes was actually controlling the Skull Kid and why he couldn't break free. That is Majora's Wrath,
Whew. The eyeball pecks are interesting.
right? Yeah. Not to
Wow.
mention a third eyeball too on the head. So you got
Yeah.
like 5 eyeballs total. But yeah,
Jeez.
he is quite the badass as far as looks are concerned. So yeah, and then you go and you fight him. I've also got some cool pictures. So these are some pictures that I've been waiting to show you for a long time. This is by far like one of my fucking favorite pictures that I fucking found, where it shows them holding the moon. It kind of shows the inside of the moon in the moon,
Mhm.
and then like the ultimate versions of Link and Majora, while Link and Skull Kid are back to back. The two fair, like I fucking love that picture. I don't know why, I just do. It's so fucking great. It's got so much. And then this was another one that I couldn't show you, and I was showing you the mask because it had the second version of Majora in there. And then this is that one I was telling you where I was like, I could totally see myself having this as like a wallpaper for my phone. Yeah,
These are beautiful.
some
Like,
badass artworks,
wow, that would be an incredibly distracting phone background, to be honest. Like,
right?
I mean, it's gorgeous. Do not get me wrong. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's just
There's a lot going on there.
there's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm. A lot. But yeah, so then there's that. But yeah, so then you fight him and you beat him. It's all pretty much just standard hack and slash. I mean, it's kind of what Zelda is. Obviously, some bosses require you to use, multiple weapons, and that kind of happens throughout the stages of Majora. But whenever you get to this, like once again, if you're just using the mask, then you've got the Great Fairy Sword that also shoots fireballs out of it. So then you're kind of okay and good to go. Yeah, and then I liked this one, and then there was this one as well. Oh, that one didn't work, but this one does. But yeah, so we beat the final boss, and when the final boss is done, when we're done with that, we then get teleported to dawn. Like you just the whole screen goes white, and it goes dawn of the new day. Not the first, not the second, not the third, but dawn of the new day. So dawn of the new day, there's the festival still going on. They got a carnival and stuff going on. The happy mask salesman kind of walks by. The four giants are leaving, and Skull Kid is standing there next to you. And he's all like, "You guys didn't forget about me. You guys still considered me a friend." And he kind of like starts crying a little bit because he's super excited that you guys were just gonna leave him to die with Majora controlling him. And this is where I remembered how much I hated the fairy. So Link gets on Epona, and he's just standing there hanging out, and then she's like, "Well, I guess our work together is done." And Link just kind of like shakes his head, "Yeah." And then she's like, "I guess it was fun, wasn't it?" And Link kind of like does the whole nod, yeah, again, because once again Link doesn't talk. And
Mhm.
then she's like, "Well, I guess you can go ahead and be on your way. Get to your business." And it's just like, fucking wow, like Jesus Christ, like we've only been standing here for like 30 seconds. She's like, "Just fuck off now.
Just
Bye
be
bye. Fuck
gone.
off."
I think it
Yeah.
is interesting with what you've told me about this particular fairy. When we think about other games, I'm going to use Final Fantasy VII as one. I'm definitely going to use Mass Effect for those that are watching this that may have familiarity with that particular narrative. But you do end up with a hero, and those aren't the only two by any means, but you do end up with a hero that is typically so good that they inspire others to be good. And I can think of so many other games where that is the case. And either even games where they let you choose, you still end up with the, oh, hey, I'm learning, like I'm seeing a reflection of myself in their behavior. And the reflection of me is that I'm not that and I want to be. And so I will grow and be better. And so I think it's interesting that we have this fairy that has spent the entire game with Link, didn't want to, no reason to be there, genuinely didn't have any interest in being there beyond their own self preservation, but they weren't changed by the presence of the hero. At the end of the game, they're still a bit of a dick. They're still not interested in being a good person. They only want what they want, and that's all they care about. And it's interesting that they have a companion that isn't changed by the presence of the hero.
Because even there's a part of the dialogue that happened on the clock tower that I forgot about, where when she gets inspired, if you will, by her brother, she literally goes, "Oh, well, you sound very stubborn, though. I'm just gonna point that out. Very stubborn, like someone else I know." And then just like turns and looks at Link, and you're just like, fucking, I got us here. What do you want from me?
I
Like,
am
Jesus Christ,
saving
what
the
I gotta
world
do?
right now. Like, fuck off.
So then you see the happy mask salesman walking by, and he notices that the mask is on the ground. He picks it up, and the first thing he says is, "Oh, it seems that the evil presence is no longer within the mask." So you did destroy the evil presence that was in the mask, but the mask still exists, which is kind of cool. Because it's a fucking dope ass mask. So he goes on to the carnival. Link follows in behind him, goes to the carnival. This is where it's cool. So, another reason why it's big for you to get all the mask. It will play a credit scene. And from what I'm told, because I've never done it where I haven't 100% of the game, from what I'm told, it will just random shots of like land if there's this like a side quest or a mask or something. Because every mask led to you helping somebody.
Hmm.
And that was the first thing that I think one of the kids actually said to you on the moon was, all your masks are filled with happiness. You must have
Oh,
helped a lot of people on the way here.
oh, how wonderful.
So if you get all the masks, all the credit scenes are all the different people that you made happy, which is what I told you about where I thought I remembered them two like dancing together and stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, so like that's one of the scenes. So it's all the people that you helped out along the way being happy, which is pretty
Okay.
cool.
Now, what's interesting about that is to go back to what you told me to watch for in the very beginning, which I feel like I would have gotten more of a vibe of if I'd actually played the game as opposed to just had the game told to me, of the
Mhm.
5 stages of grief.
Mhm.
You don't grieve for things that you were unhappy with. You grieve for things that you loved. You grieve for things that had happiness built in. So that comment of, "Hey, all your masks are happy." Like these are people that you helped. This is intentional engagement. So if that is something that is if that 5 stages of grief does play into this, that statement is important in that analysis.
Right. Yeah, and I think whenever I was reading one of the reports, like the main thing about that was like it was the whole like that was supposed to be the interpretation of your life flashes before your eyes.
Yeah.
So Link sees all the good stuff he did, but at the same time, he's still coming to terms with the grief that once again the thought process is that Navi's dead. So, and that's why he went to the forest to begin with, was to look for Navi. That's the thought process behind the theory. We'll get into that theory next episode for sure and talk about
Mhm.
that a little bit before we move on to the next game or whatever we're going to do after this. But yeah. Um, but to finish this off, once you finish the end scene credits, you see Link kind of back on Epona out in the forest, and he looks up and you see this ray of light coming down, and it actually shines on the stump that Skull Kid was playing the ocarina on when you saw him, because we saw this exact Skull Kid in the forest, the Lost Woods in Ocarina of Time. I didn't go into it because he wasn't anything significant. You just see him there
Uh-huh.
playing music, and that's it. So he actually does say, because whenever he looks at Link, he goes, "You do remind me of a fairy kid that I once saw when I was playing music in the forest." So that's kind of
Aha.
like showing that, the link between the two, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so Link sees the ray of light and then on to his next journey. He just takes off on his horse and he's on his next journey. But what's cool is that the light then kind of shines down and the camera pans down with it. And then you see this.
Now this is the same tree
This is the,
carving.
yep, except this
Oh,
time it has Link and the four giants.
yes. Oh, I love that so much. So what I see when I look at this isn't just, a hey, look, we had this happy tale, we took out the bad guy. There's also like my big thing this whole time was Skull Kid doesn't get a name beyond Skull Kid. He was lonely, he was taking care of these two, and like he was co-opted, he was taken advantage of by something with evil purposes that used him and abused him. And at the end of this whole thing, he got some of himself back. Like, he is not a shell of a creature. He did not die
Right.
from this experience. He's alive. He still is a lot of who he is, and he has a lot of what made him him still in him, even though he went through
Mhm.
this experience. And that I find the most heartwarming part of this whole thing.
Well, I'm glad that I could make you happy because now I gotta do my traditional Chris thing and make you sad.
God damn it,
It
Chris.
turns out that
And
it
this will do
actually
it for
was
the end
confirmed.
of this particular episode. We are freaking done. I am not. I want to be happy. Fuck off, Chris. All right, what's going to make me sad?
Well, it turns out that it actually was confirmed, and it's in the end credit scenes. I don't know if it's in the original, but it for sure is in the 3D version. That one of the credit scenes is actually the Deku Butler crying at the fact that his son was dead, and that Link was actually, using the spirit of his son. So now that
Oh,
Link is, kind
Jesus.
of gone done, yeah, there's like a withered stump that you saw at the very beginning of the game, and that apparently is like his kid. So it literally is one of the scenes is like him on his knees crying in front of the stump. So
Oh, boy. That is so heavy and so
yep.
unnecessary. Oh my God.
It's one of the scenes. Like you see all this happy shit, and then bam,
Just
you
at the
get to the
very
butler, and he's
end,
just crying his ass off. Yep.
death over the loss of a child. Holy
Right.
crap.
Yep. I think it's like the
Nintendo,
third or
what the
fourth
fuck?
from the end. Yep. But that's yeah, that wraps up our time here with Majora.
All right, is there anything else that you'd like to put in this episode, or should we wrap it here?
I think we can wrap it. I think
All
we're
right.
good.
Then that will do it for our 20th episode or in our class or semester here on Zelda. This is, of course, the end of the game Majora's Mask. We may do
Whoop.
one more wrap up episode where we discuss theories or like Chris like connects dots that may not have been clear to me because I didn't play the game and didn't get the in game explanations. We also may skip over that because when we've done that in the past, you guys weren't super interested and you did not watch those videos. So we may do that in our own time. But if you really want to see it, please throw it into the comments so that way we know. Speaking of which, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please, for the love of all things,
Yes.
comment. I beg you. I've just been begging you guys at this point. Most of you are ignoring me. There's a couple of you that are not. You guys are rock stars and you know who you are. I know who you are because I've seen your name a whole bunch and you're great. But if you aren't one of those people, you can be one of those people by commenting. And we also have
True.
Twitter and Twitch links below if you want to come and hang out with us there. But either way, we'll see you in the next class of Dead Funny University. Bye, friends.